In a world where meals are constantly shared, photographed, filtered, and posted, choosing not to post what you eat can feel unusual. For many people, food is no longer just food. It is content. It is proof of lifestyle. It is a signal. But there is a quiet group of people who eat without documenting it. They don't take photos before the first bite. They don't arrange plates for aesthetics. They don't upload stories, reels, or captions about brunch, coffee, or dinner. They simply eat. At first glance, this behavior can seem insignificant, but psychologically, it reveals something deeper about how a person relates to attention, identity, and validation. For many people, posting food is not about hunger. It is about presence. It says, "I was here. I experienced this. Notice me." People who don't post their meals often don't feel the need to make ordinary experiences visible. Their sense of reality does not depend on being observed. Psychologically, this reflects a lower dependence on external validation. They do not need others to confirm that their experiences are real or valuable. The meal is complete the moment it is eaten, not when it is acknowledged. Another key factor is how these individuals experience enjoyment. For some people, enjoyment increases when it is shared publicly. Likes, comments, and reactions extend the pleasure. For others, enjoyment is disrupted by observation. Taking a photo, choosing an angle, adjusting lighting, all of this pulls attention away from the experience itself. People who don't post their food often prioritize immersion over presentation. They prefer to stay inside the moment rather than step outside of it to document it. This is not indifference, it is presence. There is also a strong relationship between food posting and identity signaling. Online, food often represents values: health, wealth, discipline, culture, taste, status. Posting what you eat is rarely neutral. People who choose not to do this often avoid turning personal routines into identity statements. They don't want their diet to become their personality. They don't want meals to explain who they are. Psychologically, this reflects a separation between self-worth and lifestyle display. Who they are does not need to be explained through consumption. Another important aspect is privacy boundaries. For some individuals, eating is an intimate, grounding activity. It is repetitive, predictable, unremarkable. Turning it into content feels intrusive. People who don't post their food often draw a clear line between private life and public identity. They are selective about what deserves exposure. Not everything meaningful needs an audience. This selectivity is often misunderstood. In social environments where sharing is normalized, not sharing can be interpreted as withdrawal. But psychologically, restraint is not the same as avoidance. Many people who don't post food are still socially connected. They still communicate, they still engage, they simply choose not to narrate every moment. There is also a time awareness element. Posting food requires a pause to document, a pause to upload, a pause to check responses. People who don't post their meals often prefer continuity. They move through the day without stopping to translate life into content. This suggests a focus on flow rather than interruption. The day is lived forward, not reviewed in real time. Another subtle factor is control. Social media encourages performance. Once something is posted, it is open to interpretation, comparison, and judgment. People who don't post their food often avoid this exposure. Not because they are insecure, but because they value autonomy over perception. They choose when and how they are seen. Silence becomes a form of control. There is also the issue of comparison. Food content is deeply comparative. Portion size, ingredients, restaurants, price. People who don't participate in this cycle often disengage intentionally. They do not want everyday nourishment to become a scoreboard. Psychologically, this reflects a resistance to unnecessary self-evaluation. Eating is not a competition, it is maintenance. Interestingly, many people who don't post their food still appreciate food deeply. They enjoy flavors, textures, rituals, but they keep the appreciation internal. The satisfaction is personal, not performative. This internalization often aligns with a broader life pattern. These individuals tend to value consistency over highlight moments. They are less interested in broadcasting peaks and more invested in steady routines. For them, meaning accumulates quietly. One meal at a time, one day at a time. There is also an age and life stage component. As people grow older, priorities often shift. The novelty of sharing diminishes. The need to signal decreases. For some, posting food begins to feel unnecessary. Not because it is wrong, but because it no longer serves a purpose. Psychologically, this marks a transition from expression to integration. Life no longer needs to be narrated to feel complete. It is important to note that choosing not to post food is not a moral stance. It is not better or worse. It is simply a different relationship with visibility. Some people experience life through sharing. Others experience it through containment. Neither approach is superior. They reflect different internal needs. People who don't post what they eat often experience a sense of sufficiency. What they have is enough without being displayed. What they feel is enough without being echoed back. Their identity is not reinforced by reaction. It is sustained internally. In a culture that constantly encourages documentation, choosing not to document becomes a quiet act of self-definition. Not rebellious, not dramatic, just intentional. They eat, they finish, they move on. And for them, that is enough.